Welcome to this segment of On the Cathedral. My name is Chad Samuth, your host, and today we are honored to have our guest, Adam Pfleghaar. And we are here in light of the big event coming up this weekend, which is the Cambodia Town Film Festival. And Adam here is a director, cinematographer of Still I Strive, actually one of my personal favorites, you know, on the screens. Adam, tell me a little bit about yourself before we get into how you got into film.
Okay. I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me here, and I'm extremely excited about the Cambodia Town Film Festival. You guys just put on a tremendous show, and I think you're going to make history with this one. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I actually decided I wanted to be a filmmaker when I was about 16 or 17 years old, and I was doing a lot of fine arts at that time. And I came from a pretty unhealthy upbringing, to put it nicely.
Okay.
So I really needed a sense of purpose and direction, and I was headed down a pretty bad path.
Okay.
So the reason that's significant to Still I Strive is because all of the children are performing artists as well, and it's definitely the arts that give them a sense of purpose and direction, and it's really how I connected with them as human beings and as friends and people who I grew to love as people. Sorry.
So fast forward now. So how did you get involved with Still I Strive?
Jim and Nancy Lee were doing a teaching program in Cambodia, and they were looking to hire a filmmaker to come for 2 weeks and just kind of film the events and make a small film for that.
And just some frame of reference, Jim and Nancy Lee are actually one of our biggest supporters here in the Cambodian community. Jim Lee happens to be the founder and the president of what is it, Pioneers Electronics?
Pioneer Circuits.
Yeah. And you know, his wife Nancy Lee has been a long-time supporter and proponent for the Cambodian community for a long time, a personal friend of ours as well. But they do a lot of humanitarian work, a lot of work with the charities and the orphanage out in Cambodia, and then you happen to pair up. And then tell us a little about that experience.
Nancy was, Jim instituted a teaching program to empower the youth in Cambodia, particularly in the rural provinces, and for this trip it was Ronko. I don't know like my pronunciation. And I came to film it and just absolutely fell in love with Cambodia, and really the spirit of it changed me forever.
And you were there for 6 months, was it?
Well, Still I Strive production was 6 months, but this particular project was only 2 weeks.
Okay.
And because I filmed that and made another short film, those 2 weeks I was there, and those went to festivals, Busan Festival and Vietnam Festival, and Jim and Nancy were really happy with how it turned out, so they basically hired me on to do more projects.
Awesome. I'm usually not an emotional guy when it comes to film and stuff, but Still I Strive caught me off guard, man. I was like, oh, here comes the tears. Because it was so compelling, because you did a phenomenal job, you and your crew, by the way, of taking the realities of these young orphanages. I mean, these are kids without parents that went through their personal ordeals, you know, their challenges, their struggles, and some are so tragic. And then to be able to weave that with their roles as actors and performers and talents, I mean, explaining how you did that, I think it was brilliant.
Well, obviously, I didn't do it alone.
Sure.
One thing about film is that it's purely a collaborative medium.
Right.
In Cambodia, there was only 3 foreigners. Me, A. Todd Smith, the co-director and editor, and Amy, his wife, who was the production designer, among many other things on the film. But everyone else, which is a lot of people that made that film, was the Cambodian people. You know, Cambodian crew, actors. I call her Ming Pan, but Peng Pan, who is the lead actress of Reti Pan's Rice People, which was featured in Cannes 1997, and her husband Fuzio, who is a kind of a comedian in Cambodia, who teaches these kids, coaches them in acting every day diligently to be the amazing artists that you see on the screen there.
So these are professionals. You know, that runs this. They're professionals, and they're just trying, you know, relaying their skill sets to these young kids, kind of give them an outlet, like how you had it at 16. So instead of being kind of like victim to their their situation, they're actually taking that opportunity to build themselves up and build them a skill set that actually apply, you know, somewhere. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it gives that sense of discipline, that creative outlet. I mean, that is what differentiates this orphanage from any orphanage. I mean, we actually were involved with a number of orphanages before that. But
and then how many students, I guess, would you guess?
There was 30 children there when we were making Still I Strive.
Okay.
And at that time, Jim was supporting them fully and put them in that house that you saw. And
right. And then for 6 months, you stayed at this orphanage. You ate, you hung out with them, you lived with them for a solid 6 months and really connected with them. What was that like?
Oh, I think that was integral to the film in every single way. I mean, first of all, we wouldn't have been able to finish it in 6 months if we weren't there day and night, you know, and I would wake up at, you know, they would wake up at 5 a.m. and start cleaning, and I would wake up with them, and then they do their stretches every day, and I just, you know, I really connected with them as more than anything. The relationships that I came out of that experience with is what moved me the most, because you know, I was crying, I was bawling just having to leave them, and they were all bawling too. So yeah, to say that I developed a love for them is an understatement.
Oh, that's awesome. And then what's the age range of these kids?
The youngest is 4 years old, and the oldest is about 17.
Okay. I remember seeing where they were practicing how to cry on command. Mm-hmm. That was really cool. And you mentioned the discipline that they had, like waking up every morning. They had their roles and the duties, how to maintain the place and so forth. Everyone had a specific role as far as like their purpose or their place of being there, right? And was that like an everyday thing, or? Every
single day, and it followed a very strict schedule. And if you come from like a chaotic background or upbringing or environment, I mean, I think the best therapy for that is structure. And I think that's one of the reasons why these kids did so well, is they needed that rigid structure to focus and be the best who they could be. And I think it shows that it works.
Yeah, so this weekend, Still I Strive is going to be debuting again at the Art Theater tomorrow, Saturday. How do you feel about having this movie being probably one of the most significant events in Cambodia town, probably the first of its kind? How does that feel? How does that
I'm deeply honored and very humbled, because you know, I think there are so many people involved, and particularly I would really like to honor the people in Cambodia who made this film happen. And I think, as I said, the event you guys put on it blew me away. You know, I mean, Cambodia town is a pretty proximity-wise, it's pretty small, but I think you guys are really putting it on the map with your efforts now, and I'm so inspired by the community and this festival. I mean, yeah. Anyway, I've been to a number of film festivals, and looking at this lineup is very impressive to me.
I think I heard about someone said that it was like the biggest, smallest festival in the country, because it's making such a big splash, and you know, I think it's one of those, we're seeing this global phenomenon where people are tuning in and rallying around this one single event in a way that I've never seen before. So it's a very exciting time in our community. To our viewers who are watching this and they see what you're doing, they think it's awesome, and they want to are aspiring filmmakers.
Aspiring filmmakers, I think my #1 advice would be to truly love what you're doing, to truly love the process of making a film, and not necessarily be so attached to the end result, the fame, the money, because it's feast or famine, to say the least. To shoot in Cambodia, my advice would be to work with as many Cambodians as possible, because the ingenuity, the creativity, and everything about that culture is just an untapped gold mine, in my opinion, as far as...
Hey, man. Much respect to you and your crew and everything you've done and are still doing, and we're really excited to see what's next. This weekend, Still I Strive is going to be one of the most anticipated shows in the lineup. So we'll be hanging out, and we'll be chatting some more.
I can't wait.
And really, for those who want to tune into what you're doing, how can we find out more about you? There's a website for Still I Strive?
Yeah, there's a website, www.stillistrive.com. We also have a website, PCI Presents, which is the production company website. Okay. And we'll put update. You can find us on Facebook as well, Adam Pfleghaar and Still I Strive.
Okay. And then how do you spell your last name?
Pfleghaar.
Okay.
And I've had many people tell me that that there was a typo. They're like, no, this can't be right. There's got to be a typo in here.
Okay, awesome. Well, Adam, thanks so much for spending some time on this, man. We really appreciate your time. You know, we're excited to tune in to see what's going to happen next. And Appreciate you coming to
Thank you very much.
We'll hang out soon. And thanks for tuning in, you guys, and we'll see you on the next segment. Akun Chan and Chimriap Lea.
Kuntran, Jambi,